Thank you, Jamie and Gail Wald, for setting the stage for us, a stage that has been evolving for so many years. But your work is a reminder of where we are today in our story. Now, a quick nod to prayer. If any of you have ever prayed, you know that every morning begins with gratitude for waking up, for breathing, going to the bathroom, being alive. Rosh Hashanah morning is no different. So we've brought one of our favorite writers and gratitude obsessors, A.J. Jacobs, to share his radical approach to giving thanks. From there, we'll lead into a morning musical set with Zach Rogue of Rogue Wave, singer-songwriter Mira, and producer and recording artist Lebo. We'll end with a visit from host of Brain Games, Jason Silva.
Hello, my name is A.J. Jacobs, and I am an author and a journalist. And I want to thank you for coming today. I want to thank Hillel for putting this on. I want to thank Steve Jobs for helping to create Apple so that I could record this on my laptop. I want to thank the people who made my t-shirt, the people who wove the fabric so that I could look semi-presentable. I will stop there for now, but what I'm trying to convey is I am a big fan of gratitude, an obsessive fan of gratitude, which might seem crazy, I know, in these times when everything seems to be going haywire, but I actually think now is the time when we need gratitude the most. I didn't always feel this way, but let me tell you how I came to this realization. A few years ago, I wrote a book called The Year of Living Biblically. And this came about because I grew up with no religion at all. No seders, no bar mitzvahs. As I say in the book, I'm Jewish, but I'm Jewish in the same way the Olive Garden is Italian. So, not very. But I wanted to know what to teach my son about our heritage, about the Bible. So I thought one way to learn it would be to follow it as closely as possible, to walk in the sandals of our forefathers and foremothers. So I got a stack of Bibles and I got a board of spiritual advisors. I had rabbis and ministers and scholars, and I wrote down every rule that I could find. And that is a lot of rules, like over 700 rules. And I wanted to follow them all without picking and choosing. So I wanted to follow the famous ones, the 10 Commandments, love your neighbor, but I also wanted to follow the ones that don't get as much publicity. The Bible says you cannot shave the corners of your beard. I didn't know where the corners were, so I just let the whole thing grow. And by the end, I had some serious topiary hanging from my chin. The Bible also says that you should stone adulterers. I figured I should at least try, and I was able to stone one adulterer. I'll tell you quickly. I was in the middle of my year, and I was really getting into it. So I had the beard, I even wore a robe and sandals, and a man came up to me. I was in Central Park in New York, where I live, and he said, "Why are you dressed like that?" And I explained, I'm trying to follow all the rules of the Bible, from the 10 Commandments to stoning adulterers. And he said, "Well, I'm an adulterer. Are you going to stone me?" And I said, "Well, that would be fantastic. Thank you for the offer." And I held out a handful of stones. They were very small, like pebble size. He was aggressive. He grabbed the stones out of my hand and threw them at my face. So I thought, an eye for an eye. I can throw one back at him. So that's how I checked that off my list. Now, at the end of the year, I did shave my beard and I put away my stones. But there were so many life-changing insights of that year that I did keep, habits that persist to this day. And one of them was about gratitude, because the Bible says you should be grateful for everything. And it's not just the Bible, it's also science. The science on this is amazing. It talks about how gratitude can help with depression, help with recovering more quickly from illnesses. So I decided I need a gratitude ritual in my life. And every night before dinner, I would say this little recitation. I would say, "I'd like to thank the farmer who grew this tomato, and the cashier who sold me this tomato at the grocery store. And one night my son said, you know, Dad, that's fine, but also kind of lame because those people can't hear you. If you really cared, you would go and thank them in person. And I said, that's an interesting idea. And I decided that could be a good book. So my son earned his supper that night. And I did. I went on uh, a quest to thank everyone who had anything to do with my cup of coffee. I decided to focus on just one thing because it seems simpler. My coffee that I get at my Upper West Side cafe here in New York. Well, it turned out not to be simple at all. It took me months, it took me around the world, because I discovered that my coffee would not be possible without hundreds of people I took for granted. So I would, for instance, I'd have to thank the truck driver who drove the coffee beans to the store, but he couldn't have done his job without the people who paved the road. So thank them. What about the people who painted yellow lines in the middle of the road so that the truck didn't veer into oncoming traffic? So I had to thank them. And I thanked and I thanked and I thanked, and it became clear my coffee requires an army of people like biologists, architects, logo designers, inventors, goat herders, you name it. And I called my project Thanks 1,000 because I ended up thanking at least 1,000 people. And it was a major pain in the ass, but it was also wonderful and life transforming. And I just wanted to share 3 lessons with you today that have made my life better. Lesson number 1 is fake it till you feel it. Because I would wake up in my default mood of grumpiness, but I would force myself to reach out to people, to call them or visit them in person or write them, to thank them for their role. I would thank the woman who roasted the coffee in Brooklyn, or the health inspector from New York who made sure my coffee wouldn't poison me. And I took it wide, maybe crazily wide. The truck driver told me that he listened to Beyonce to keep awake. So I tried to call Beyonce to thank her for her role. She has not returned my call yet. I'm still hopeful, but the people who did return my call, it was very interesting because you had a range of reactions. Some were honestly, they're like, is this a pyramid scheme? What's going on? What are you selling? But the majority were actually very happy to be thanked, very grateful. I remember I called the woman who did pest control for the warehouse where the coffee beans are stored. And I said, I know this sounds strange, but I'd like to thank you for keeping the insects out of my coffee. And she said, well, that is strange, but thank you. I don't get a lot of appreciation in my job. She said it was like an anti-crank phone call. And what was amazing is it didn't just affect her feelings, it affected mine. Because I would, when I woke up, I would, as I said, I was in my default grumpy mood. But when you force yourself to act as if you're grateful, then you eventually become grateful for real. It's amazing how much your behavior can change your thoughts, which is actually a very Jewish notion, that deed before creed. Lesson number 2, fight the negative bias. Now, psychologists will tell you that all humans are born with 2 sides to their personality, the Larry David side and the Mr. Rogers side. That's the scientific taxonomy. But the Larry David side, as you imagine, is the negative, pessimistic, grumpy side. The Mr. Rogers side is the optimistic, hopeful, and generous side. Now, unfortunately, I was born with a very big Larry David side and sort of a weakling Mr. Rogers side. When I hear 100 compliments and a single insult, what do I remember? The insult. But sadly, I'm not alone. that's actually human nature. We were wired to focus on the negative. We are stuck with it. It was good when we're cave people. You really needed to know what was the one poisonous mushroom, or you had to assume that the rustle in the grass was a tiger. But now it's no help, or very little help. So the key is to fight it. And the key to fighting it is to notice all of the hundreds of things that go right every day, instead of focusing on the 3 or 4 that go wrong. That even in these difficult times, we have so much that we should be thankful for. That we have water, that we have electricity. I'm talking to you now. And Judaism is interesting because actually it has both sides built into it. You know, we've got, as a culture, we can be good kvetchers, we can be Larry Davids, but Judaism also has a very strong Mr. Rogers side. And the word Jew comes from the word for thankfulness. And those who are observant will say there are dozens of prayers of thanksgiving to choose from for every occasion. So you can there's a prayer of thanksgiving for before you eat or sleep, but there's also one when you see someone who is nearsighted. There's a prayer of thanksgiving for that. I happen to be nearsighted, so feel free to say that, ask your rabbi for that prayer. That would be my lesson number 2, is notice all that is good, even in these dark times, that there are hundreds of things that go right. And lesson number 3 is to look up. This I learned because my first stop on my gratitude trail was to thank the barista at my coffee shop. A lovely woman, big hugger, before COVID anyway. And she told me it's a hard job being a barista. And that's partly because you are seeing people in a very dangerous state of mind, pre-caffeination. So she has a tough job. And she says a lot of times people won't even treat her like a human being. They will just treat her like a kiosk. They won't look at her. They'll just hold out their credit card and keep their eyes on their phone. And as she's saying this, I'm saying to myself, you know, I've done that many times. I've been that jerk. And so I pledged that I would take those 2 seconds to look people in the eye, which I know does not deserve a Nobel Prize, though I will take one if offered. But it is so important to remind ourselves that there are human beings that we're dealing with, especially now when connection is so hard, and that these are people who have lives and families and aching feet and embarrassing high school memories. So it's really crucial to our sanity to make that connection. I thought I'd wrap up by saying that one of the biggest lessons was the idea of 6 degrees of gratitude, because every person I thanked had 6 other people, 10 other people, 100 who they could thank as well. So I went to the farm in Colombia, South America, where the coffee was grown, and they couldn't do their job, they said, without the people who made the pickup truck for their farm, and the people who made the steel for the pickup truck, and the people who helped them irrigate their coffee trees. And speaking of water, water was crucial everywhere. The water, coffee is 98.8% water. So I went to the reservoir that supplies New York, and I thanked them. And as part of this, we have made a thank you note that you can send friends and family or whoever you want, your barista, and that would be on the resources page at higherholidays.org. So with that, I will say thank you, several thousand.
Hey everybody, my name is Zach and I'm here with my friends Mira and Lebo. I want to welcome you guys to our event. We're going to play some songs and we're today focusing on Rosh Hashanah as we celebrate the new year and take some stock in ourselves and see how we're feeling about this new year and what's to come. I know this is such a challenging time for everybody in so many different ways. And we wanted to have this kind of an opportunity to sing some songs that are kind of relevant to the themes of Rosh Hashanah and some of the themes that maybe we're all feeling right now. So Rosh Hashanah is probably the more upbeat of the two big dogs, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. But we want to be asking and thinking deeply about ourselves and where we're going and what we personally have control of in our lives. So music is kind of a really special tool to kind of unlock some of those questions. It is said that there is a reassuring sense that there's the endless cycle of time, that it's always kind of continuing on. I think a lot of us need that reassurance right now, this opportunity for things to start fresh, an opportunity to start again. So many people have been living, like everyone's been living in some form of quarantine, and where our future is so unknown. And it's a really challenging time for everybody. I mean, everyone, that's the one unifying element, is that everyone can relate to the same kind of situation right now. We're all kind of struggling through this challenge to kind of turn the page. And I don't know about you guys, but I always have this moment when I wake up in the morning where my brain hasn't quite been thinking about the pandemic because I've been asleep and it kind of is not quite on yet. And then it turns on, I'm like, oh yeah, we're still in the thing. But if it's not that, you know, we all have our challenges, and hopefully with the celebration of Rosh Hashanah and then, you know, continuing on to Yom Kippur, we're reflecting on, as I said before, there are so many things that are not in our control right now, but we still do have an ability to take agency. There's so much change happening all around us, particularly in this country right now. There's a real movement, especially amongst young people, to take charge of your own future. That's where it comes from. That's what's needed the most. So in saying that, I chose this next song. It's by one of my favorite bands out there today. They're called Chicano Batman, and they're from Los Angeles. If you don't know them, check them out. They are amazing. Great musicians, great songwriters. And I wanted to choose actually the title track off their new record, which is called Invisible People. And I think that the song is in certain part written about the Latinx experience, but there's a lot of universality to it, I would say. And I think there's the whole notion that nobody is free until we're all free. Nobody's equal until we're all equal. And I share that spirit with them. And I think that they sing it lyrically and musically in a way that is optimistic and still, you know, not being soft. And I appreciate the balance that they strike in the song. So I'm going to do that song, and hang on to your butts for a second. I got to move something over. Okay, here we go. This is Invisible People. Invisible people, we're tired of living in the dark. Everyone's trying to tear us apart. All we wanna do is heal now. Smoke a slip so I can feel now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Invisible people, the truth is we're all the same. The concept of race was implanted inside your brain. It's time to start all over. You best believe we're taking over. Spinning the world around you. Spinning the world around you. Spinning the world around you.
invisible people. The truth is we take the blame. Fuck the system, it created so much pain. It's time to start all over. You best believe we're taking over. Spinning the world around you. 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 All right. I believe Mira is going next.
Oh, that was so beautiful. That was really great. This song is called Energy, and it was one of those songs that just came out in a few minutes. I wrote the song in a few minutes, and as soon as and I actually recorded it as a memo on my smart device, and then that same recording is on the record because it's called Energy, and it's about a lot of things, including losing people. It's about death and challenges, but it's about actually the beauty of the new day and meeting life every day, no matter what, and whether that day includes some pretty extreme challenges or minor ones or joy or whatever. And we all have been given these bodies and this lifetime, these lifetimes, and yeah, I'll just sing the song. But we only know that it's not that easy when time together is done. It's not for us to say how long, to say how good, to say how strong. We are turning in the night to our lovers' love light, for some holding on, for some good songs, and to reconcile all we will lose, 'cause we can't choose, no we can't choose how the day falls, how the stars lift. We can't just give tenderness. Let's try to get old together, but even if we check the weather, we might never be prepared for what comes. So I'll take care of what I can, and I'll give thanks to my parents for giving me this body for my soul to breathe. It's in here that I keep making memories. I will hold on to these for when time together is done. And I feel so much love for the people who've come with me, even when I've been kicking and crying. When I'm mad and I'm burdened and I'm feeling uncertain, and I just want to lay down my mind, I'll wake up again and a new day begin with more energy. I will hold
was very awesome.
I usually have it up way louder, but I was trying not to blow out the Zoom.
No, it was good. All right, Lebo, top that, buddy.
Yeah, right. That was effective. You know what happened when you did that? I got transported to like a music hall or something like that. You know.
Great.
But yeah, in talking about new beginnings, I think sometimes new beginnings are like new like things you're going to change in your life, and like, you know, physical things. I'm going to move somewhere. I'm going to do this, and a lot of times it's more of a mental change. And this one is more about, you know, the idea of like a storm's coming on, the proverbial storm. You know, a lot of times we run for shelter, but sometimes it's good to just like run out into it and face it head on. So this was a song one day I was feeling like I needed a change, a new beginning, if you will. And this song came out of that. It was kind of like something I wanted to project. So give it a shot. Let's see. The storm's coming on. Oh, I wanna feel it. I won't go relax. Wanna stand up to my pride. So I wanna feel it. Well, on my soul is gonna bleed, but deeply through it I will breathe. So I wanna feel it. The silence gonna fall. Oh, I wanna hear it. I'm not gonna move. I wanna face this vacant mood. 'Cause I wanna hear it. Gonna let this silence swarm. Yeah, this silence is the storm. 'Cause I wanna hear it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 'Cause I won't live beyond the light. Fly. Darkness is roaring. Oh, I wanna break it. But I won't cry for help. Wanna sit here by myself. 'Cause I wanna break it. This darkness will be fixed. I'll stumble in silence. 'Cause I wanna break it. So deep and wide, then unshackling my mind, 'cause I wanna share it. Well, it won't do me no good, locked up inside and misunderstood. So I wanna share it. Well, this love can silence any fight, storm the darkness with its light. So I wanna share it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I won't live beyond the light. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If I don't wanna find a way to fly, way to fly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I won't live beyond the light.
dude. That was great, man.
What's up, guys? This is Jason Silva. You guys might recognize me from hosting Brain Games on the National Geographic Channel or from my videos, Shots of Awe. I'm here to wish you a happy Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah, of course, is the Jewish New Year. It's a chance to take stock of our lives. It's a chance to look how far we've come. It's a chance to decide where we want to go. It's a chance to evaluate whether we're following our passion, whether we're chasing our North Star. It's a chance to ask ourselves difficult questions about the meaning of our lives. It's a chance to think about our place in the universe. Carl Sagan, the astronomer, said that we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. And so we have a responsibility with the way that we live our lives to be expressions of creativity. We want to be expressions of novelty in this universe. If we are a way for the cosmos to know itself, then we must practice contemplation and self-reflection, right? Know thyself is what they've always told us, and ain't that the truth? And so on this Rosh Hashanah, I'm inviting you to ask the difficult questions, to take stock of your life, to think about your place in this world, because you're here but for the briefest of moments. So make a masterpiece out of your life, one that we would willingly want to live again and again for all of eternity. This is what Jean-Paul Sartre says, and this is what we can strive for.
We've come to our main event, the Torah portion for today. On this, the new year, we read the promise that Sarah will bear a son named Isaac, who will father a nation. But she doubts her ability to give birth and ushers her maidservant, Hagar, to bear a child instead. Jealousy, deceit, and betrayal ensue. Hagar too is promised a nation through her son Ishmael. But then Sarah sends her off into exile and Hagar has to plead to God for help. You've got two women both in deep conversation with God. I am so excited to welcome American Public Radio producer and writer and host of the podcast Mystery Show, Starlee Kine, to unpack our Torah portion today. And then, like you'd expect on Rosh Hashanah morning, stay tuned for the Haftarah. Every year around the world, we meet Samuel's mother, Hannah, the woman who the rabbis credit with inventing prayer. And of course, she's accused of being delusional and drunk. But her prayers come true. She gives birth to a son named Samuel, who goes on to be a preeminent Jewish leader, prophet, and kingmaker. We'll welcome April Baskin, a member of the Women's March Steering Committee and founder of Joyous Justice. And we'll hear from the Resistance Revival Chorus.
Hi, Sarah. How are
Hi.
you, honey?
I'm pretty good. It's been another one of those weeks. Time doesn't really mean anything anymore. I did get a few things done. I finished that puzzle that I wanted to finish.
Oh, yes, good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
How about you?
Yeah, I'm busy. Kind of like the pendulum has swung more toward the busy, and then of course, next week I'll probably sleep all week, so it's hard to kind of balance all of it, blah, blah, blah. But, it's funny. First of all, it's kind of quiet over there.
Oh.
Where's Ishmael?
Oh, I think he's, where is this? I think he's at a friend's house.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And how's Hagar been? Because it's been weird. Like, usually I sort of am you're usually, by now you've barked an order to her way. So is something?
I don't know if barking is the word that I would use, but no,
friendly?
She's great. I just gave her a raise, actually. I
That's
just
so
gave her a raise.
nice, Sarah.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
generous.
And then she used that money that I gave her the raise to take a 3-day weekend. She's at a hotel.
That is so funny because
Yeah.
I had actually heard around town that Hagar had not been seen for a couple of days. So that might explain.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
How's Isaac?
Isaac, oh my God, he's so great. I mean, I could show you Isaac. He's so great. He's not talking yet, but you can see that he wants to start talking. Like he's about to start, and he just seems so smart. You can tell he's going to be so smart, but also very sensitive.
Oh.
You can tell like it's going to be, he's not going to be like a know-it-all kind of smart. He's going to be the smart kind that also allows for other people to, get a word in. It's just, he's so special. I got so lucky having a son.
Yeah. For sure.
It's so great having a son. One son. Yeah.
A single son. Yeah. I'm without child, so I wouldn't know. But I do wonder, okay, so you mentioned that Isaac is starting to maybe present as a bit sensitive. Let me just, this is kind of crazy. Did something happen between Ishmael and Isaac?
Well, I mean, lots of things happened to Ishmael and Isaac. They lived together.
Yeah. I mean, like something kind of troubling, or like it's just, you know how this town is. There's just a lot of talk, and so I had heard maybe something had occurred with Isaac and Ishmael that was not totally copacetic.
Something.
Sarah, you're being a little cagey. Can I?
I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, there's just so many things that happen between siblings. I mean, they're not really siblings. One of them is Ishmael's. One of them is Abraham's, child he had with Hagar, and then one of them's the actual child. But I don't there's just so many things that happen all the time.
Right.
I can't answer if you're not going to be more specific.
Okay. I'll be specific. There's a bit of a rumor going around, and I would not be a good friend if I didn't sort of get your side of things. And this alleged 3-day weekend, it's not what the rumor is. The rumor, I hate to report, has to do with an incident that I think you're concealing from me. Let's just start with the basics. Did Ishmael say something rude about Isaac?
Okay. He did. Ishmael did say something rude about Isaac. He said that he wasn't. He said that there wasn't enough. Isaac's hair hasn't grown in yet, so he looks like and so he pointed that out. He said he looked like every character on Breaking Bad, like he could just join the cast of Breaking Bad, which I thought was very. I don't know. I've never seen Breaking Bad. I don't know what he was getting at with that, but I just felt like he's a baby. Like, why pick on him for his hair?
Oh.
It's so Ishmael to do that. It's so Ishmael to do that, to pick on the weak, to seize on like someone who has no power and no say over their life, and to just dig in and exert his power over them. It just, I don't know where he gets it from. I do not know where he gets it from.
You said Ishmael was taking a nap?
Well, no, he's at his friend's house, but then after that, he'll be taking a nap.
Okay. Because it's funny, because you told Rebecca that he was taking a nap when you just spoke with her before we got on the Zoom. So you might have been able to keep it all straight. Like the timeline isn't really adding up. Is part of the problem, right? So what people are saying, just to cut to it, right? I don't want to beat around the bush. Is that people? The word on the street is that you did banish. You did banish Hagar, and you did banish Ishmael as well. And there's talk that they were sent to the desert. That is extreme, right? And it just, I know you can see rolling your eyes. So I mean, is that what happened? Because you know, lying is a sin, right? I mean, I'm not trying to like play the sin card, but it's just kind of like a bit.
I mean, it's a low sin. It's a low sin.
Okay, so you did banish them. Sarah.
They were really, their house was too crowded. It was just too crowded. Like they just acted as though they lived here. They acted as though they were part of the family and they were entitled to things. It just was, and also during this time when we're inside so much, you know how crowded it gets. Like we're already climbing the walls as it is. It just wasn't working. It just was not working. Okay. And they wanted, like, Ishmael was calling Abraham dad.
But Sarah, you know, this is the type of territorial thing that I've sort of observed in you, right? And I feel like, you know, it's Ishmael in so many ways sort of does Abraham, you know, that's not a banishable offense, right? A Breaking Bad joke, right? I don't sort of see that being grounds to sort of starve and die in the desert. And you know, you might have blood on your hands, Sarah. I mean, this is not just sort of your run-of-the-mill slap on the wrist. I mean, this is like an execution.
Yeah, but okay. I mean, I was trying not to involve him, but I didn't do this alone. I had some help. And I feel that the help that I had makes it so that it felt like I don't think I'm going to get in trouble, considering who helped me, if that makes sense.
I think I know who you're talking about. Did God put you up to this, Sarah?
He didn't put me up to it, but he definitely was on board. Like, I ran it by him. I said, God, does this sound like, you know, it is. Okay, sometimes when you're mad at someone, when you're upset with someone, you can't always think straight. Like, I was worried I didn't have perspective. So, I mean, so everything you're saying, I told myself, I had the same conversation with myself. Like, is Ishmael making fun of Isaac, a baby, is that a banishable offense? Like, I wasn't sure. It felt like it was, but I wasn't sure. So then I called God up and I asked him, and I said, does this seem like something that is worth banishing someone for? And he said, fine. He said he was totally on board. He even did it for me. Like, I didn't have to do anything. As soon as I said that, they were in the desert, thousands of miles away, taken care of. And so I just don't know why it's all, I don't know why I'm getting all of this. Abraham was, of course, asleep because all he does is sleep.
He's a sleepyhead these days at home. You know what? I'm just gonna I'm gonna see if he's.
What are you doing?
What's
happening?
I'm gonna see if God can come on.
You're getting.
Yeah.
I feel like
Sarah, no, look.
I feel uncomfortable because he didn't want me even saying anything, and now you're gonna have him. He's gonna this feels a little weird.
Come on, if God's around, then he'll come on, and he can clear this up, and you know, I'll have egg on my face. How about that? I mean,
no, he's always around. That's not even fair to say, because he's around.
He's around, but I'm just saying. Let me see. Oh, he said 1 sec.
Okay. I cannot.
I sent him the link to the Zoom. I invited him to the Zoom.
Okay.
Sarah, like, listen, he's God. So if he is cool with this, like, I can chill out. But like, honestly, I know you, and it feels like you're gonna lose some sleep over this. I don't buy that this is like a sort of feet up on the couch vacation for you. Like, I kind of think that this might be eating you alive, and I actually want to get to the bottom of this so that we can kind of move forward. Because truly, Sarah, if they die in that desert as you intended, I'm sure for them to do, I don't know that you're going to be able to live with yourself. I don't know that you're going to be able to live with yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But God also said they're fine. Like, he did say that if they go, it's not like I sent them out to the desert to die. He said they're fine. He said the desert is he said he built the desert. He knows the desert. He knows that the desert has, you know, facilities. I think there's a gym out there. I think there's like arts and there's craft night. I hear. I really do think I don't think the desert is as bad as you think it is. God would have told me if it was. He built.
You're acting delusional. This is a desert. Like, it's literally called a desert. Like, there's no. There are facilities.
It sounds very close to desert though, and I feel like God would not have made desert and desert. Those two words so close together, the desert wasn't kind of sweet. It wasn't kind of a sweet spot to go build a family in. I'm sure there's lots of other kids there. There was no other kids besides Isaac here for Ishmael to play with. And Isaac is a baby with a beautiful head of hair coming in. And this is better for Ishmael. It's better for Ishmael. And Hagar and I were just always just, you know, butting our heads. Yeah. The power dynamic was so off, and so I feel like in the desert it's a whole new start. There's ping pong. I've heard.
Sarah,
I'm pretty sure there's ping pong.
Sarah,
you can go.
I don't know if you were aware that that's what you're doing, and I don't mean to pathologize, and I don't mean to therapize, but I really think that when you hear what they're up to, it's not going to be ping pong and craft night. Okay, it's going to be like
not every night.
Like 3rd-degree sunburns and, you know, salt sort of crystallized on skin and you know, sort of this sort of very rapid sort of death. Frankly, I think that they're dying.
I did not.
Oh my God! Oh my God! He's been in the waiting room that whole time. I'm so sorry. I should have seen. Okay, let me admit him.
Hi, God.
Hi.
Oh,
sorry. Were you busy?
I mean, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
You sure? What were you doing?
There's so much. It's not even worth it, like, getting into. There's so much from so many people these days. Everyone's going crazy right now.
Yeah. I can't even imagine the emails that you're probably having to sift through.
You have no idea. So many things that don't matter. Like, that's just the I don't want to be victim-y, but like literally putting out, people asking me to put out fires and nothing's burning.
That's, I mean, right.
I mean, and then there's fires. There's just a lot.
Well, you know, it's funny, God, I part of why I actually wanted you to hop on is that I think I have a bit of a figurative fire that, you know, Sarah and I are not sort of seeing something eye to eye. There's been a couple of versions of a story that has troubled me greatly, and it's just been weighing on my heart. So with your permission, may I please ask you sort of to get some clarity on a couple of questions I have about an incident that might have happened here?
Yeah, I mean, moving forward, you don't have to ask me for permission. I don't mean to be confrontational, but it just like saves a lot of time from my schedule to not have to do that. Yes, what's up?
Okay. Okay, Sarah, let me just kind of get this going. So I had heard through a couple of folks in the community that, and I'd noticed, of course, that Hagar and Ishmael have been missing. And it just didn't sit right with me. I really thought something might be going on. And so Sarah and I have been catching up, you know, weekly, sort of.
I mean, I did recommend that they check out the desert, you know. I did. We had a talk and.
Sorry, who's we, God? Who's we? Who's we?
Me and Hagar and Ishmael, who is a minor, obviously. I mean, he can't make his own decisions, but
they were happy with it, right? They were
totally, no, they were seeking change. Like, they were just like, we want some change. And I was like, the desert is so pretty and it's so undervalued. I spent a day on the desert and it's just like, no one goes. And I think they're into it. So I don't know. I just wouldn't worry. It doesn't matter.
Okay, but did...
See, I told you, this is what I told you it was okay. He said it was going to be okay.
I am really worried. about this. I don't like the way the communication has flown. It feels a little bit like maybe this has been an oversight, and I don't want to overstep my bounds, but you know, could you at least look into sort of, you can see, you know, where they are. I would implore you to take a peek and sort of see what's happening in the desert.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
I don't have a lot of time, but
That's really kind of why I got you on. Honestly, it's been okay.
they're
So they're
fine.
doing great.
They're great. They're fine.
See?
They're fine.
They're like being saved.
But
I'm sorry, they're being saved?
Mhm.
by you?
Yeah, I decided I'd save them.
Maybe I shouldn't have called God in. Maybe I should have taken care of this myself. Maybe I didn't need God to be the one who to actually, like, I don't know if it needed to be an official banishment. I think I could have just had a talking with Hagar and just then sent her on her way. I'm sorry to get you involved, God. I know you're very busy, so I do regret my part in that. Like I didn't need to involve so many other people in what was really a family affair.
I mean, really, but I guess, you know, it seemed, just as your friend, there is a jealousy at the root, I think, of this action. Well, I'm seeing head shake.
I'm not sure if I see that. God, you didn't offer anything beyond water to Ishmael, right? It was just water, and there's no other things that you're promising them. Because if you did, Isaac has to get the same. You can't offer something to Ishmael that Isaac doesn't have. That's not.
So do you see God and of course, Sarah, how you go straight to Isaac?
I mean, he's my son. He's
Right.
my son, so I have to look out for him.
I think that's beautiful, Sarah. I've always admired that in you. But you know, when I look at sort of this really deep sort of hatred you have of Hagar, and I really think it is a hatred. And I really like her. You know, she's
easy. She likes to dance. She's really good. She can just make up a hum. Like, she hums songs and just dances to them on her own.
You know, Hagar, the other day I saw Hagar at the market, and she just had me in stitches. She is so funny.
She's really funny.
Spoke about the cantaloupe.
Yeah.
And she said cantaloupe, more like allelope. And we were laughing and laughing. I
was watching that. That was so funny. It's so funny because there's only a few foods, and it's funny to mix them up.
Use different words for food. Where does she think of this stuff?
Yeah, I could mix up food. I know how to do that. I know how to mix up. I know food. I eat food. I can mix up.
Yeah.
Special about. I don't get it. I do not get it. Everyone is so obsessed with her. I do not understand.
Yeah. No, you're great. You're great. People love you. Everyone talks about you. I listen to so many conversations of people being like, Sarah's awesome. She's so awesome. Like, people do really like you.
Yeah, you know, people like you, but I have to say, just so you know, like this incident, people didn't look kindly on it. You know, it didn't reflect well on you. And so that's why, especially then, I start to think about our friendship, and you're kind of dodging around and not taking immediate responsibility for this. It's like, what else are you hiding? You know what I mean? It just feels like, if you can't be honest with me about who you've banished, what else are you not telling me?
I feel like that. I knew it just wouldn't. I just knew people wouldn't understand. It's not. And look what's happened. Look what's happened. God has been dragged into this. Like, this is exactly what I was worried about happening. And of course, no one ever is talking. What about Abraham? What about his role in this? Just because he's 99 years old doesn't mean that doesn't mean that he doesn't bear some responsibility for this.
Well, he's just a good old boy, you know?
I think I'm more messed up than I realized. Now that we're all talking, I'm realizing there's some issues that I maybe had that maybe manifested with me throwing a woman and her child out into the desert to die. I mean, I can see that. I can see that.
And Sarah, that was great that was a great color on you. That acknowledging kind of what's up. It's just cool to see. So more of that. More of that.
And also, I'm funny.
You're very funny.
You're so funny, and famously, in fact, I think just keep on being you, and I would just be really careful about kind of who you banish moving forward, and that know that kind of like it's a small town, so
yeah,
stuff does get around fast.
I will just be a little more mindful about what I'm up to.
That's great.
If I'm going to be perfectly honest, I just didn't care.
Okay.
I heard Send Into the Desert, and I was like, it was the last thing I had to do in the day. Like, it didn't matter to me. So.
Wow. Okay. It's good too.
That's nice. Is anybody else's eczema just like horrible right now?